for customer service.
Over there,
I mean, it was
rambling
all
on
kind
today,
of
Jamie. They are just rambling on.
If you need
And they
to talk
can't
to,
find nothing to talk about
support,
neither.
press
So they
2.
keep talking about us.
So Jason went online.
And donuts.
I went online.
And my shaved head.
Put that in.
Had to turn around.
They said it was to promote, because Dr. Pepper does all the football commercials.
Dr. Pepper donuts?
The college football commercial. In the season, which is, this is week 4, so.
Versus, Krispy Kreme stores, or maybe they sold out. Because it probably wouldn't be online if they sold out.
I had to try it.
So, I don't even know where I
Yeah,
was.
Dr. Pepper's in everything.
I was in Publix.
Somebody said Shandy's garden that that she loves Krispy Kreme and got a box of the Dr. Pepper.
Come on, girls, let's go.
So I was in.
Come on, ladies.
One day this past couple weeks ago, and I needed something to drink. I always take water with me. I try to stay away from soft drinks.
Hey, sweetie.
So I'm looking at the case.
All right, we're in the green room, and it looks like a lot of people have joined in. I need a hat. I went and got my hat, and we have our coffee. Hi to hello, everybody. Lester and Jamie here. Cheers. And if you noticed, we don't have any matching cups. We have no matching cups.
I wondered why.
Well, I know why, because this has been the kind of a week. We've had a really busy week where we haven't had a lot of coffee in the mornings together. So that means we wash the cups at different times. And if you wash the cups at different times, some get put up, some in the dishwasher, some still in the sink. And it just so happened that this is the first Saturday that I can remember that I go up into that pantry or that cabinet to try to grab me a matching set of cups. And I had to whoa. Now, I probably could have done all that.
He could have looked a little bit, is what he's saying, but they weren't too up front, is what he's saying.
I like to see them up front. So this is what I told your mom when she was here. I says, do you need any coffee cups or any mugs or any glasses or anything like that? Because we have a whole lot of stuff we never use. What we need, and I've said this 100 times, we need maybe 3 or 4 matching sets. We have that many. We have them. But we have 100, if not more, of odd and end things here and there. And those odd and end things here and there get in the way and mess everything up. So what I was hoping your mom would do while she was here, as busybody as she likes to be, she could have went in there to that cabinet and taken all those odds and end cups and moved them out and left us with only matching sets of everything. That would have been cool. But nope, your mom didn't do it. She was too busy outdoors. Anywho, good morning, everybody. Lester and Jamie here. Did we already tip our... Did I already do this? We've tipped everything?
We've tipped it all.
We've tipped it all. Okay. Yes, Jezebel did it again. A copy and paste is really cute. Thank you, Mella.
She did.
That's exactly what she did. She gave us the most beautiful calf over there. I hope that you guys all had a chance to see the video from yesterday. I played it on both YouTube and Facebook, so no one had a reason not to see it unless you were just busy. How busy can you be on a Friday? But no, we did a drone flight up over the JL Ranch, trying to get close enough to Jezebel because she's kind of skittish. And we got the drone flight up, and I got my drone. I lowered that thing right down on... Oh, hush it up, God.
Is the gate open?
Nope. Our gate at the road is closed, but all of our dogs are barking for something.
How weird.
I don't know. But I got that drone and I flew it right down on top. And if you watch carefully enough, you could see my drone shadow. But the problem is both mom and baby were laying down. And mom's just watching the drone like, I ain't getting up.
It was really sweet.
I took my drone. I was like, I was like a cobra strike. I was like,
Are you serious?
yeah, I was taking my drone like zoom, 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 trying to cobra strike at her, thinking that would maybe get her to get up, and so baby would get up, because you got to look between the legs. And that little girl would not get up for nothing. She just looking at me, looking at her mom. Her mom was like,
I love Jezebel. She's been a favorite of mine since the very beginning.
so I finally had to go land my drone because the battery was running out on me. I had to go grab the side-by-side, drive over, and get a up close and personal. But it was cute because just like with Norma Jean, at some point, Mom realized you're not going to beat them, just join them. So she told little girl, she goes, move your tail out the way. So that little girl moved her tail over. We zoomed in, got the money shot. And now we know that Jezebel has herself another little girl. And so the hard part is today is the day we give that little girl a name. And when I say we, this is going to be a we thing, meaning not just Jamie and I, but also you. So let's talk about some of our favorite names so far. You told me a few yesterday. Now, listen, I've gotten a lot of cool names from the internet. The one that I think might appear to be the people's choice is Serenity. Oh, here they come. Here comes the people's choices. Yeah, a lot of people they're loving that name, Serenity.
I like Liberty.
I like Lady Liberty. I want to add some royalty to it. Lady.
Lester does want to add the royalty to it, but also he had to practice like yelling it, because that's what
yeah, I can't. It's one of those things you can't really say fast 3 times. Go ahead and try it. Do it.
No. I will say though that last night we were reading what the AI said on the way home, as like the AI on Facebook will like summarize the comments. And one of them made me laugh because it said someone suggested Lady Janelle.
Lady Janelle. Lady Janelle. Lady Liberty. Lady
like,
Belle.
That would be great. Name a cow after my mother. I'm sure that is her hope and dream.
I also heard, and a lot of people liked it, Queen Serene, like Serena, Queen Serene. And that still adds a touch of royalty to it. I don't know why. That's just kind of a thing. But what we'll do is a little bit later today, we will take and compile maybe, I don't know how many you can have on a poll, 4 or 5. We'll put 4 or 5 questions, names on there, some of the most popular names, and we will absolutely stick that up for a vote. We'll do it on both Facebook and YouTube, so both platforms have a chance to weigh in on their favorite. And then we'll do it the Democratic way. We will have us a vote, and we'll find out which is the most popular name choice. And I will try so hard not to influence the election. I will try. Oh, it's so hard to do. It is so hard not to influence the election, okay? I will not be like the Iranians this year, okay? I will not be trying to hack into the server, Jamie. I will not do that, okay?
I just got us banned by saying those 2 words.
I just got us banned by saying that word. Oh my God, I bet I did. I bet I did get us into all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should probably refrain from that from now on.
Whoops. Didn't think about that. But it is what it is. Linda says, Lester, you always influence it. Linda, I like Queen Serene. I'm sorry.
Somebody says, isn't Marilyn named after your grandma? No, Marilyn was named after Marilyn Monroe. I happen to have a grandma named Marilyn. And when Grandma Marilyn heard that we named the cow that, she gave Lester the
Someone
hardest
says, Lester,
time.
just don't use your pager. No, I will not be using a pager or a walkie-talkie.
I think you should stop saying trigger words right now, because those are trigger words for a platform. Stop talking about it.
I don't even know what I can say anymore, what I can't say anymore.
Don't even talk about that.
So anywho, happy Saturday. Hope you all having a wonderful morning. I woke up at 8. I was in no rush. I heard Jamie wake up a lot earlier, start moving around. I hear her. I can see the light of her phone come on, and that's the first sign to put the pillow over my face. And then, but of course, she goes to bed at 10. I don't go to bed till much later. And so
last night I laid down in bed and I was like, I'm just going to scroll a little bit.
I'll tell you exactly what you said. 9 o'clock.
It was not 9.
Yeah, it was 9.
It was 10.
No. Because I went up and texted you and says, "Hey, look at this," at 10, and you didn't say anything. So I went and looked, and you were already sound asleep. So at 9:30, we'll say 9:30, she says, "I want to go lay down and scroll around my phone for a bit." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I'll be in a little bit." So I went and took my nighttime concoction, and I sit there in the TV in the living room for a little bit, and I'm also scrolling around. And that's when I sent her some funny things, and I didn't hear back from her. Come to find out, 9:30, she's sound asleep. Sound asleep.
I got no sleep the night before, for the record. So, the other thing, no, that was the night before, right? I don't know.
When all the horses got out?
Yeah, that was 2 nights before that. I don't know. It's been a long week. It's been a really long week.
So I've been at the J&L all week, so I haven't been around here during the nighttime to know much of anything. So I have no idea. Last night was my first night to sleep at home in a while. So, and I think you slept all night last night.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was a good night. Got a little catch-up game going on.
A lot of folks are still giving us name ideas, but so what we like to do is, I know there's a lot of random names here and there that pop up. I saw one yesterday, Snowball, and
somebody else said Cookie.
I mean, I get it, but I kind of like more human names, if y'all don't mind. That is where I will draw the line. I like to have more human type names.
Yeah, like Dinky Daryl.
I like humanly names, at least names that could be to a human, and Daryl is a human name. Now, we added the Dinky part to it, but I like human names to my animals. I don't like to refer to them as numbers or colors or, "Hey, Brownie." I like humanly kind of names. And so, okay. So here's everyone saying, "Oh, like Christmas." I didn't name her. That was her. And I don't have a vote in everything.
Got her at Christmas.
I don't have a vote in every name, okay? I do not
most of our names are human names.
Thank you.
And when we have Swayed from it, we both kind of giggle every time we say them, like the chips, right? So the little tater chips.
Yeah, chocolate chip and Chips Ahoy. I get sometimes we have to alter away from the human names,
but we really try to. We really try to do the human names. We always have. Even our squirrel's name is Alan. So,
And what's that lizard's name?
Earl and Earlene. There's like hundreds of them around here, and I call them all Earl and Earlene now because they have procreated in the craziest way. There are lizards everywhere,
and they're tiny. I had no idea they were so tiny when they were born. They're tiny, and so I'm not going to say who, but someone stepped on a baby right out here outside the door.
Not me.
I didn't realize it until the ants came up. And the ants were literally carrying the lizard away. You know how ants can like work together and lift up.
Worked together.
They lift up things that are a lot heavier than they are. And we watched the ants pick up that lizard. It was a baby, but they still picked it up and carried it right off to, I guess, go eat it. Which is a funny story because Jamie was wondering why I did not mow the entirety of the 8-acre pasture up front.
I'm like, why'd you quit?
Because I've made a video about it, and I was going to do it in quadrants. And so I mowed 3 quadrants, but I skipped one. And she goes, "How come you never mowed that last section?" I says, "Jamie, I'll tell you why, because there's ants over there." Now, when I say ants, I don't mean fire ants.
Wait, say fire ants right like your dad does.
Fire ants? I'm not talking about fire ants. I mean, there's like big ants, like those leaf cutter ants.
Yeah.
And their mounds are like this wide, and they have these huge mounds, and they're not spaced out. They're pow, 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 pow. They're all on top of each other. And so what I got scared of is, I think someone on here sent us a picture of what they look like underground, how they dig out these big caverns underground.
Yeah, we have to like fence it off and treat it, or lock up animals and treat it.
Well, what I was afraid of is I'll be out there mowing, my mower would sink down into one of those caverns. I'd be trapped in the underground world of the ants. It'd be like one of those movies from the 1970s, and I'm like underground, and these ants are like a lot bigger than I am. You know what I'm talking about? And their little tentacles come out, and I'm like trying to run.
He was worried about his soft tissue. Is exactly what was going on.
I'm not concerned with getting bit, on the arm or the leg. I worry about my soft tissue. Soft tissue.
He quit mowing the pasture because he was terrified he would fall into an ant cavern.
Yes.
And be eaten alive.
Like the land before time. I did not want to find myself in the land before time and have all my soft tissue eaten away from me.
By ants, where I would just walk out and basically find his clothes.
No, you would never find me. You would just think Lester ran off and left me with the lawnmower. And that was the end of it.
That's what I would think.
Because them ants, and if you ever saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
Do you see how scary ants can be if we were tiny?
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to live that life, okay? I don't want to be like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and me be running around as a full-grown man, but having ants who live underground a lot bigger than I am. Anywho, that was that. So I did not mow that part of the pasture, and I will find a way to, maybe we could have to hover over it and like, remember the show Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? He had like he had like an arm, and he was hovering, and he was like gliding across, doing something. I'm gonna have to get my weed eater and just glide across and do it from above.
Oh, we got a treat first. So that is a priority for this week, is to treat some of those ants, because that's still scary. And even though we've eradicated them from this part of the yard, now, like, I saw some popping up at night in the alpaca pasture. Actually, I found a nest there too. So not anything big like that, but they're scary. They're unbelievably scary and can create sinkholes and all kinds of erosion issues. The very last thing that we need out here at this property. So yeah, Lester will not be running the mower over them.
No, we're going to leave 1/4 of that pasture just weeded up. Let the weeds, let the ants have it. Thank you all. They're still having a lot of names pop across the screen. Chickens will eat them? I wouldn't think so. Not these kind of ants.
Chickens will not eat these ants.
I know the big birds won't eat them. They actually will come up and they'll climb up the fence and get into the containers where the big birds, Carl and his family eat from.
Yeah.
And the birds will stop eating when those ants take over. So I have to go out there and literally dump all of their leftover grains onto the ground and refill, because they will not eat when those ants are there.
Yeah, they bite them.
How do you treat them? So I've discovered one way that worked pretty good. It took a lot of work to do this, but I took the tractor out with the kind of hose that you would use to drain the pool, a flexible hose, like a 2-inch hose. And I taped one end of it to the tractor exhaust, and I could handhold the other end of it. And you can feel that exhaust coming all the way through that hose. Now that hose is probably 20 foot. So I would walk along with that hose and stick it. I would here's the ant mound. I would stick that hose right on top of it and just hold it there for a few minutes and let the entire hole fill up with exhaust. And then when I pull the hose away, there'd be no more ants. So I don't know exactly how many holes there are over there.
Probably thousands.
But there's a lot of ant holes. So
they're not the same as regular ants, so they don't eat like the ant bait.
Look how humid it is today. I wore this shirt yesterday and I had no problems. This morning I put it back on and it's just hanging. It just hangs on my neck. That's humidity. If you don't deal with humidity, that's one of the signs of high humidity. Should be a fairly tight-fitting shirt. Today it just hangs on me.
Maybe you lost weight since last night.
I doubt that. Anyway, our plans for today, Jamie, well, you want to talk about what you're going to do with Ernie? Maybe?
I am waiting for a call back from, there is a animal hospital a little bit further than A&M that is, it is the alpaca mecca of Texas, and they have alpacas on site. Our friend Tina from Camelid Corner referred us to them. I think I'm going to bring I'm in debate. I think I'm going to bring Ernie in to do a transfusion today. Just very nervous about what. So I'm waiting for them to call me back. We're going to FaceTime because Ernie's just on the struggle bus today. And yesterday, I'm sure we were at 100 degrees with 112 heat index yesterday. So I'm sure that that's playing a huge factor in it. And no matter how many times I sprayed him down, I can just tell that he's struggling. Again, the drive is the risk. Even putting him inside a vehicle is still stressful for them.
Yeah, it's not just the heat of a trailer. It's not a bouncy ride. It's just the stress of being moved. Some animals, some humans do not handle stress very well. And alpaca, or they're not good with stress. And if they're already not feeling well, then that's just going to make it worse.
So I'm waiting to hear back that, number one, that they can take us today, and number two, that they think it's the right move for him, because it's a gamble. It really is.
And then we should also remind everybody that we're not purposely looking for Ernie drama. We told you guys a long time ago that he's not out of the woods. He has his ups and downs, his days. And there are some days that you feel really good. Like, man, he ate good. He came to his food bowl. He come to get his water. And he's active, or more active than normal.
I would say the last 3 days have been a steady decline.
And then there's other days where he just wants to lay there and he'll look at you. He'll just put his head on the ground and he just looks at you. And I'm like, Ernie, you want to come eat? And he just has no drive to get up.
I'm watching his nostrils flare big, which is a sign that he's in distress. And I'm just seeing his eyes are just very tired. So I think he's struggling with oxygen, which is low blood pack cell count. Red blood cells deliver oxygen, and that's been his issue from the beginning. But I've really noticed over the last 3 days a very quick decline. So I'm probably, it's about 2.5 hours. Probably going to be in the farm truck, hauling Ernie in. But again, that the loading and the actual ride and being removed from a situation it's very stressful on them. And when you already don't have oxygen and now you're panicked trying to get more oxygen, that's going to cause a disruption. And I hate to say this, the drive and that part of it could potentially kill him alone.
Yeah, that is what I think would be the worst thing. I mean, no one wants to lose an animal, but I mean, I would just really hate that if we lost him because of the stress and the extra, I just don't know, friends. This is a really hard decision. This is one of those decisions that you just...
I'm going to say it. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And that's what we feel like right now. And I just don't know. And so I want them to look and make sure that I'm not making this up about his flared nostrils and his famacha, which is the color of his insides of his eyelids is awful. It's white. It's white as this cup. So there's no red blood cells for him.
I've never dealt with any kind of anemia, but I have been sick before where I just have no strength. I just like nothing left in the tank. And I can only, I don't know if this is even similar, but sometimes you get a cold, you get the flu, and you just, when I had COVID, I could hardly not even walk from this shop to the barn to get my bucket of feed. And there was just nothing. There was no strength inside of me. And when I finally made it out there, just sweating profusely, I would try to, and it wasn't even summertime, I would try to, get my buckets of feed filled up and trying to do all that I do. And then I was like, I remember I would sit there or stand there and say, I don't think I can walk back to that shop. I don't think I could walk from here to that shop right now without, And so I know that we've all been sick. Now, I've never dealt with, like I say, anemia, but with the way he has like no energy, it looks like he just would be similar to how I felt during some of those times, just no strength whatsoever. And then like you add the fact of the lack of red blood cells means his body's not getting oxygen like he needs. That's why he's trying to breathe so hard. It's just so sad. It's just so very sad.
And you can't give him sedation to ease the stress because sedation slows down your breathing. So that would kill him. So it's gonna be a rough day.
Yeah. So Jamie, whatever she decides to do based on that phone call, she will be doing that by herself. I'll be happy to help her load, but I will not be able to be here all day to go with her. I got other things that I have to do. So that will be Jamie having to, we call it divide and conquer, and we do that quite a bit. However, Jamie will not be driving the trailer. She will not be pulling the trailer anywhere until we have us a tutorial. Please, if you could let me talk for like 30 seconds. I know I will never hush you up. I never like to hush you up, but you did something, and I have to tell this story in my version. Because if anyone missed the story in your watered down version, let me tell the story in my version. Okay, please.
Watered down version.
Do you need more coffee? Because you can go get some while I tell this story. Because I know there's no way you're going to let me.
Your hand is even on my hand right now.
There's no way you're going to ever let me tell this story. And I'm going to tell the story from the perspective of the men who saw it happen in real time.
But you weren't there. So.
I know, but you told me what happened, and I could only. Oh my hand! Oh, holy friends. Thanks for the coffee, babe. Hey, sweetie.
I know. I feel it.
Guys, I'm going to tell you something very funny that I don't have on camera.
No.
I have to.
No. Leave me alone.
Okay. Jamie can drive a trailer. She has pulled the trailer many a time. She doesn't back up a trailer, and that's fine. No one's judging, but last Monday, when we took Dinky Daryl and our beautiful little goat, Starbuck, over to the sanctuary in Plum Grove to have them neutered, we had a team of vets come out. There were 2 vets and 3 vet techs who came out to do all of the neutering. And we had a whole crew to be neutered that day. You guys already know the story. And all the mini donkeys, a goat. They were going to do a couple of pigs, but they did not have the right amount of stuff to sedate. So I'm not ready yet. She's trying to come back over here. She's coming back over here. She wants to hear my version. Come on. Okay. So here's the story. Here it comes. Listen. I'm laughing with her. I'm not laughing at her. And for everyone who thinks I'm being mean, I'm not. I am laughing about a story in the past, a past event that was not funny at the time, but it is funny now because everyone knows that Dinky Daryl is doing great. But that in itself is a darn miracle because as Jamie was driving the truck and trailer back home from the sanctuary back to Longhorn Lester's, I couldn't be there because I had to take Lex to the football game. Me and Ellie went to see Lex at his football game. So Jamie's like, don't worry, I got this. I will have the vets help me load. And that part was all easy. The vets and Megan, from the story they tell, Dinky Daryl loaded like a champ. Now, don't forget, though, he had the snip done down below. And the way they do it with donkeys is they actually make an incision and they like squeeze and both of the testicles will pop out. Okay, that's just how it's done. And then they attempt to sew it back up, but they have to leave a tiny hole for drainage. Okay, simple enough. I'm not trying to be too grotesque. Someone says, did you put vinegar in my coffee? Let me have a drink and I'll continue my story.
Maybe it's vinegar, maybe it's Visine. You just never know.
Vinegar or Visine or brake fluid or antifreeze. That would be just so, that's so horrible, Jamie. That's so horrible.
Did it taste like it?
I can't taste anything.
I've never put anything wrong in your coffee.
Okay. So if you're grossed out by that part, guys, you might want to go somewhere else because it's going to get worse. Okay. So here is Dinky Daryl about 3 hours post procedure. He's all come back to, he's all up and moving around. And at this point, the vets have all done their final checks. He's good to go. Everything's fine. So they moved Dinky Daryl to the back of the trailer. They put him inside. They carry Starbuck, who's also fine, put him inside the truck, and they start heading back towards Longhorn Lester's. Now, what you may not realize is that on our trailer, we have a big swing gate that we don't really open very much. We don't really need to unless we're loading a big animal like a cow or a horse. But small animals, you have a slide gate, a little slide gate, and it has a slide latch. So slide latch. So once the ladies got Dinky Daryl put inside the slide gate, somebody slid the gate closed, but they did not latch the gate. It happens. It could happen to anybody. As a matter of fact, it happened to me one time. We didn't lose any animals, but it happened to me one time. So it can happen. And here's the problem. On the Plum Grove Road, that small little beat up road that has to that 70,000 plus people drive every day. Long story. Don't get me started on that one because we will for sure get in trouble. In the midst of rush hour traffic where there's people and buses and semis and concrete trucks and there's people everywhere. Here goes Jamie diddy bopping down that Plum Grove Road, diddy bopping down the Plum Grove Road, boom, 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 bouncing herself back towards Longhorn Lester's. When she stops at the stop sign, looks both ways. We only have one stop sign, and it's right at a cross section where we have a fire department, a convenience store, and a lot of traffic. But Jamie patiently waits for her turn, and she finally goes. And no sooner does she take off than the lady behind her swoops around in a very dangerous position, honking her horn, cuts her off, and screams, "Your donkey jumped out!" If you did not hear what I said, your donkey jumped out!
That happened.
Your donkey jumped out. Your donkey jumped out. So Jamie panics. Now, remember, I'm not there, y'all. I'm at a football game doing my own cheering for my son, okay? So I'm so sorry I could not have been there. So Jamie has to find a way. This is where I give her big props. Big props to Jamie. She has to find a way to pull that truck and trailer over with all of this traffic. And I don't think you have any idea of what I mean when I say traffic. Listen, New York traffic might be bad with all the people that are honking, but have you ever been to Mexico City traffic where you don't have just honking, you have cars that are bumping each other? If you think I'm lying, talk to anybody who's been to a third world country and tell me if I'm not lying. Bumping cars is a very normal thing. Every vehicle there has bumps and dings and dents all over them because people will bump you out of their way. It's like bumper cars. And so Jamie's trying to take the farm truck and move it off the road far enough. She can't really get turned around, so she has to find a little wedding. They have a little wedding reception hall. And she takes and goes into their parking lot, drives through their grass, through their pretty little reception area to make a big old loop-de-loop. Guys, I'm not lying.
No, that really
Jamie's
happened.
right here.
That really happened. I was like, surely people park here, and I just did it. And I was like, I will beg for forgiveness later if that's not the case. I did not. It was dry enough. There's no ruts, nothing. You can't even tell I was there.
So bottom line is, Jamie finally gets turned around, and she's just panicked about what she's going to find when she gets back. Because if it wasn't bad enough, poor Daryl just had his man parts tinkered with. Now he's loose on the streets of our own version of our own little third world country there in Plum Grove. Okay. Jamie finally pulls up and she sees Dinky Daryl. He's standing in the ditch like he's dumb, like he's never seen such chaos in all of his life.
True.
Though all the things that Dinky Daryl has seen, living in the savage wild, living here with Carl and Pig Trudy, he's never seen such chaos as he does right there in the one stop sign town of Plum Grove, Texas. And there's cars and there's traffic and there's honking. And Jamie finally pulls over the closest she could get, which is still a ways away from Dinky Daryl. And she jumps out of the truck, leaves the truck running. That's minor detail. And she runs over to check on Daryl. Well, thank you, Lord Jesus, that Daryl's fine. Daryl has no scrapes, no bumps, no one run over him, no one hit him. He's just standing in the ditch, and he's like in shock of like, what in the world have I stepped out into? So Jamie goes to try to grab Daryl, and this is the beautiful thing about everything is 3 different individuals pulled their cars over in all of that mess. 3 men jumped out trying to help this beautiful lady here, who was wearing them pearls, wearing a dress, and wearing her cowboy boots. And so there was no lead ropes. There was nothing available. So these men, this is very clever. This is how ingenuitive these guys were. These fellas end up taking off their belts, not to spank at Daryl, but to find a way to harness him, to give him some kind of a makeshift halter. They finally get him haltered up, and they start pushing Daryl along. Jamie was trying to pull, but she just could not find the strength to pull because Daryl, like Jamie said in her video, Daryl put the brakes on. And if you guys don't know this, a donkey can be very stubborn. They're known to be very stubborn. And Daryl put the brakes on. And if you want to add anything to this story, by all means, but the good part's not even here yet, y'all. Jamie could not pull hard enough.
But I wasn't going to admit that. I was out there doing it. There was going to be something in me that was going to get Dinky Daryl that trailer, and I was not about to ask for help again. Not to mention, none of these men spoke English.
No, none of the men spoke English, and so they're all trying to translate with verbal cues and whatnot. And I think they all kind of understood the gist of everything. But at one point, the guys had Jamie switch spots where they were going to go in the front. Jamie goes in behind. And so Jamie has learned a secret that I taught her. Whenever you have to move a donkey or an animal who won't move, you will sometimes grab the tail and you kind of twist the tail. Not in a painful way, but they don't like their tail to be twisted. So Jamie goes down to twist the tail. In all of that process, she gets blood from the surgery. Come on. There's blood in that area, and Jamie gets it all over her hand. She doesn't realize it though. And at some point she's sweating profusely. So she goes to wipe her brow. And when she does, all of that blood is now coming down her face. You remember Gary or Carrie from our Halloween skit? Gary, remember Gary from Halloween, or Carrie from the movie?
Who could forget?
Y'all, yeah. So that's sort of how Jamie described herself as looking. Well, when these men who were all pulling turn to look at her and they see this blood all over her face, they were scared for her. They're like, oh my God, you're hurt. And they're all trying to tell her in their own ways that you're bleeding. I love this girl because she realized what they were looking at. But she did not realize the best way to tell them that the blood was coming from Dinky Daryl's bottom half. So instead, our sweet Jamie does this.
No, that's not the motion I made. I put my hands out towards Dinky Daryl, like this.
You did this right over here.
I did not.
Then let me ask you this. Why are you lying now? Because in your live video, you said exactly what you did.
I did this. I said this right here, like this. And the donkey is behind. I'm behind the donkey and his like this. So I did this right here. And then I did this and made motion like that. Nonetheless, tell him.
Well, if you're going to ruin my story, then you go ahead and tell him.
Have at it.
All of these men's mouths dropped. because what they all assumed is the exact same thing that you all assumed, the same thing that you would assume had you not heard the first part of the story, the same thing that she thought when she told the story on her live, is that they all assumed that she was the one who was bleeding profusely. And I think the rest, who cares? Look at everyone screaming, "It's not your story, Lester." I am the world's best at realizing what is my story to tell and what is not my story to tell. So Jamie has told this story. Shame on you for missing it. But for those who are enjoying this part of the story, thank you. You came to the right place to hear my version of what happened. And this is absolutely Jamie's story. And she's told her story twice already in videos. And if you've missed it and this is your first time hearing it, well, now you've heard it from my mouth. So bottom line is, they finally did get Dinky Daryl into the trailer. There are 3 men along with 1,000 other people who are living in that neighborhood now who think that this woman over here has some horrible
hygiene,
I guess, or just some serious bleeding. And but no, Dinky Daryl is fine. He's gotten back home. Jamie realized when he got to the trailer the second time about what had happened, the latch did not come down. And so, you know, mistakes like that happen. It's we've all made silly mistakes, things that we just get busy, we overlook. It's happened to every single one of us. So we will absolutely say, Jamie, if you need to take that little alpaca, by all means, I'll help you load. Ernie, we'll put the seats up. We'll give us a towel. We'll do all that we can to make him comfortable. But let's not take the trailer. Let's just put him in the back of the truck today. And you put the keys in your pocket.
I was waiting. I was like, you forgot a really important part.
Do not leave keys in the truck, because if you guys don't know this, we loaned our truck to a good friend of ours. You guys all know the wonderful fella who helped us work on some fencing over at the JL Ranch. And he and his fiance wanted some goats, but they had no way to transport them. I says, Randall, we got a couple of goats you can have to help start your little farm. He goes, but and I said, you know what? I'll be happy to loan you my farm truck. The farm truck is for everyone to use. We don't. It's not mine. It's ours. It's a family farm truck, and there's not a person in his family who's not used it at something or another. And so Randall comes to get the farm truck, but Randall puts the goats in the back seat, and he leaves the keys in the truck to go get something to drink.
While it's running.
While the truck was running, and if the goats don't jump around like goats are going to do and stand on top of the button, the lock button, locks the truck. Randall can't get into the truck, a running truck with goats inside. He and his fiance are trapped outside. So luckily, what he did have in his pocket was his phone. So Jamie and I had to go save him. But I says, Jamie, if that little goat had jumped up and locked the doors with all this other stuff happening in all of that chaos, I was nowhere around. I was 100 miles the other direction, and I don't carry spare keys with me. Who knows? Do you have your phone with you? Or was it also inside the truck? Probably inside the truck. So she would have had no phone to call anybody. And so you're not going to send smoke signals, guys. We don't send smoke signals. And if you're like me, you probably don't know anyone's phone number.
I know yours.
So everyone who's sitting there saying, you could just call Jake, you could just call Papa, you could call Kim. No, you don't call anyone with no phone, and you don't have all those numbers memorized.
No, you and Xander's are the only, maybe my mom. That would be the only numbers I know, but Xander and my mom aren't going to help at that point in time. And you were 2 hours away. Yeah, it was not it was not a well thought out moment at all. Like looking back, obviously retelling the story, but also looking back, I made a ton of horrible mistakes, and boy, there were a lot of lessons learned that night. Like a lot of lessons learned that night. And I would never I would never be able to laugh about those moments had Dinky not been okay. But I got very lucky. I got very lucky that Dinky was okay. I got extremely lucky that 3 men saw a very helpless woman. Clearly, I must have really looked really bad for 3 separate people to get out of their vehicles and help. I also have this horrific feeling that I am online and am a viral video in several of those moments, probably for the very worst reasons. And if anyone sees that, please don't send it to me. I don't want to know.
You know that with all those cars passing, there had to be a lot of people who were videoing a lot of that. There has to be out there somewhere. That has to be somewhere on the internet at this point.
One of my greatest fears was that a Mara was going to drive by. Like, that was not...
And not help?
Well, yeah, and video it. I mean, let's face it, they would have eventually got out of help.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
I didn't realize that your mom and dad were at the game too. And
Yeah.
that Buddy was already home from work. Because I, like, all in my head, I was thinking, like, surely this is Buddy's way home from work.
Yeah, Buddy.
You know?
Buddy is the only one that drives home from work
Yeah.
that way. So
And
Buddy
Lou.
would have been the only one, and Lou.
And
But
Lou.
Lou gets home early. Lou gets off work at 2, and Buddy gets off
Oh.
work at 4:30 or 5.
So it was already past both of those points. But like, I was just terrified for all of the reasons and everything running through my head and nothing at the same time other than what was there.
What I like to
And,
do
whew.
in moments like this, after the fact, and it's easy to sit there and be mad and do all that. That's what most people do. But I think that what we like to do is try to think about all the positives that came out of this.
Yeah.
So I will start with the fact that 3 total strangers pulled their own vehicles over in all of that chaos. 3 men who were probably also wanting to get home, who had also probably worked their tails off all day long in the heat. It was a hot day. Probably one of the hottest we've had in a very long time. 3 men who were probably exhausted, who got out of their vehicles to go help you. And then the ingenuity of those men to use their belts to rig up a halter system.
To work together, not knowing each other.
Yeah, working together without knowing each other.
The language barrier between us, me and them, they obviously all could speak to each other. I can't imagine what they were saying about me. Like, I can't even imagine what if they looked at each other at the end of it and were like, let's go have a beer and debrief and what that conversation would look like, because they probably are like, what's this? And like, they probably had no idea about so many things. And like, I don't know if they laughed, if they regretted doing that, because it was such hard work. It was hard work, and they worked. It wasn't like anybody was slacking. Like, I just, positive that we didn't get locked out of the truck. That
there was no accidents, because in all of that confusion with such tight spaces, and guys, these are some very tight spaces. Like I said, this is
bumper to bumper, stop and go.
Is it called a 2-lane road?
Yes.
Or a 1-lane road?
It is technically a 1-lane.
One way. And so that is all you got. And guys, they don't have shoulders.
There's no shoulders.
You don't have shoulders. There's no walk. There's not a place for motorcycles like in California. There's no place for bicycles or pedestrians. It's none of that kind of stuff.
And the ditches are like weeds that are up to your waist.
And those are some deep ditches too.
Full of trash, full of other, like, I just kept thinking, like, I hope neither of us
was
get
hurt.
sliced
No one
up.
got snake bit.
Yeah.
And so there were so many blessings in all of that mess. But I'll tell you what, and I think that was a lesson learned the same way that I learned my lesson. Did we ever tell my story of the piggy? Y'all never heard my story of the piggy. So I'm so embarrassed about this one. Okay. But what I'm saying is it happens to all of us, or similar things happen to all of us. Jamie and myself were called to go get a pig. 2 pigs were in distress. They were rescues. This is years and years and years ago.
Before videos.
This is before we were making videos. But we got a phone call that there were 2 pigs who were in distress. And the Liberty County or Montgomery County called us because we were a sanctuary and says, come get these pigs. So we drove over in the trailer, and we were able to corral the pigs. They were small, and we loaded them in the trailer fine. We were driving them back to the house, and this time I forgot to put the latch down. And
It wasn't this trailer though. It was a different trailer.
my dad's trailer,
Yeah.
same system though. Same.
Yeah.
You got a swing gate, you got a slide gate. Same system. All. And I forgot to put the slide down or the latch down. And we get all the way home. And I walk around back to let these little pigs out. And I look in the truck, there's only one pig. The door's open that far. It had bounced open that far. And there's only one pig. And I panicked. I mean, I freaked out. So I jumped back in the truck and trailer. We unloaded the one pig. We jumped in the truck and we drove up and down the roads and could not find that pig anywhere. So I'm like, Jamie, I didn't even know where I could have lost it.
Yeah.
Until, this is a funny story. It was about a month later, and Jamie had Xander come down to visit. And we were talking, and I guess we're kind of laughing about the incident and showing him the new pig and saying there should have been two, but Lester lost one on the way home. Yes, we are live. If you're saying, is this live? We're live. There's a lot of people who should be blocked right now, but we're not going to deal with all that. Let's not get fixated on the minor stuff. Just ignore those people. But listen, we're driving to go eat to the Chinese place, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get near that same stop sign, the
exact same stop sign.
One stop sign in all of Plum Grove where all that traffic's at, we stop and Xander goes, there's a pig in the ditch. Now, I know what you're thinking. You think there's a dead pig in the ditch. No. There's a pig and about 20 chickens in the ditch. And they're all like best friends. And they're all sitting there rooting and eating out of the ditch. And I'm like, Jamie, that's that pig. It was. And I'm guessing that pig must have, there were several homes around there at the time. I'm guessing that little pig probably come out of that trailer at that exact same stop sign. You know, once you stop driving, they may look around and just jump out or fall out. Who knows? And that little pig must have walked to one of those homes, and whoever lived there fed him, because now he's out there eating with the chickens.
We saw that pig for years. Until that place sold.
That little pig grew up and he looked identical to our little pig, and they were the same size, same face. It was the same pig who we lost that day. We're sure of it. Who lived right there on that farm, never fenced in. A lot of folks.
Both of those pigs were wild.
Oh, they were very wild. Yeah, a lot of folks don't have fences and yards the way a lot of us do. They just live house to house to house to house, and they will have their animals in their yard, which is theirs, but there's no fenced in yard. So to have a pig just running around in your backyard. Yeah. So that we saw that pig for a long time.
That day we looked for that pig.
We looked everywhere for that little pig.
And then the next day we looked for that pig. Like it was, and I knew nothing about, like, I am not the pig person. At that point in time, I was definitely not the pig person.
Oli. That would have been Oli's.
It was Oli.
Yeah, not Roland. It would have been Oli's partner.
Yeah.
I am so sorry y'all have to hear that from us. So let me just address a couple things real fast. So the random people who don't belong to the page, ignore them completely because they come and go. For the people who belong to the channel, who are so upset with me for being disrespectful to Jamie, shame on you. You have no idea how we banter. This is our love language. Talking, laughing with you all, sharing stories. This is our love language.
I posted a video of his blown out underwear last night on Facebook. Like,
she can make fun of me and I make fun of her.
Yes, this is what we do to each other.
And that's the way that we love. So for some of the folks, here's what I think happens. And I'm so sorry if I'm getting this wrong, but I bet that many people who have been in maybe an abusive relationship, they have been with a man who doesn't allow them a voice, who doesn't let them talk, doesn't let them do anything. You project those demons onto us, and that's not who we are. So I'm so sorry that's happened to you, but do not try to project your demons onto us. We're completely fine. We'll get off here. We'll finish our coffee. We'll go have lunch. At some point, we'll go our separate ways to take care of our business, and we'll come back and we'll continue on. We are a real couple, and I'm so sorry for the people. And there's been more than one who have screamed at me, just screamed at me with everything in you. So you
We're
just don't
totally
you
fine.
don't know us at all.
No.
Shame on you for not knowing us better than that.
So I have a. Can I talk about your underwear?
Oh Lord.
First of all, I asked if I could post that video because I genuinely made that video and sent it to him while he was at the JL this week. I was doing laundry and I pulled those out to fold them and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I put them down and normally you throw them away because
I don't
it does
know why
happen.
I did not throw them away because I know when it happened. I remember when it happened.
Normally, I will find a pair of his blown out underwear.
So ladies may not
Trash.
know this. Ladies probably don't even know about this because y'all all have stretchy underwear. So men, unless you're wearing whitey tighties or boxer briefs, boxers don't stretchy. They don't
There's
have
no
stretchy.
stretch.
There's no, I mean, you have a stretchy waistband, but nothing else will stretch. But sometimes the work that I do, I don't sit in an office chair all day where I bend, I flex, y'all. I move, I lean over, I bend over, I squat
And his underwear
down.
does not always bend with him.
And if
apparently.
I'm wearing certain pair of underwears and I bend in a certain spot, then you can hear them, you can feel them. And I'm like, whoops, I'll throw them away when I get home. But I wear them the rest of the day. I don't go change them that same minute. I just, what? Well, why would you go change them right then? You just wear them until you take your shower that night.
Doesn't it feel weird?
Well, yeah, but you don't really care. Anywho's, so you might want to know, ladies, men already know this, but boxers, they don't stretch and bend. They're not made to comfort form around all of your movements. And so I remember the day, I remember when they ripped. I didn't know they ripped that much. I knew I could feel the rip, but I didn't know they had ripped all the way from the top to the bottom and down the leg. But it was a rough day. I worked that day. I worked hard that day.
All I know is they were brand new, for the record, and that's why I actually sent the video. And I was like, normally the ones that happens to are the ones that are like super thin and worn out. So the fact that those ripped was a little alarming to me. And that's why I made that video and sent it to him. Well, he never replied to me or anything. So last night we were on our way home from dinner. I was like, by the way, what happened to your underwear? You never answered me. And he was like, you told me what you were doing, working and whatever. And I was like, can I post this video? Because I think it actually is a really cute video. And he was like, I don't care.
I don't care.
So
I don't care. What does that tell you about me? I don't even care.
So anyway, yeah, they're not too tight, Jill. They fit him perfectly, but if you ever get a chance to wear men's boxers, they are made with basically pillowcase material, and they're non-stretchy whatsoever. And
well, they're loose fitting, so
yes,
you
they're
like,
airy, they're loose fitting.
You like the loose fit. You don't like to be constricted, or at least to each his own. Now, if I was going to be doing a sport or something, then I would probably want to have a tighter fitting underwear. But for just working around, you want to be able to breathe a little bit. And they rip easy. They do rip easy. It's not my first pair of underwear to rip.
No, they're not.
But
it's really bad when you rip your underwear and your shorts, because that's happened before as well.
That happens sometimes too. What can I say? I'm flexible, okay? I'm very flexible. I'm more flexible than my shorts and underwear.
That normally throws them away. So the fact that I washed them was just hilarious. And I was like,
that was my most embarrassing thing, was that she actually had washed them and found them in the wash, because I normally would toss them myself when I take them off. I just forgot. So
it's in a hurry.
Huh?
You were in a hurry. Come off.
But
we have a good time, y'all. That is the banter between the two of us, is just picking fun and playing, and there are things that I want to kill him for, and there are things that he wants to kill me for. But at the end of the day, here we are, and that's what makes our relationship. So,
yep.
If you can't laugh, you'll cry, and if you can't find humor in each other's flaws, then you'll probably be a miserable person. And I don't think either one of us.
Well, I said it yesterday, and I'm serious about this. And people have to remember that, guys, your time here on earth is short. It is very short. And if you can't find yourself surrounded by happy and joy and love, you have to continue to seek that out. It's not going to come to you. It's not going to come to you. So find your happy place. And if this is not it, we hate to see you go, but we love you enough to say go.
Yeah.
What do they say? If you love it, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. And if it doesn't, it never was. So we give you that space. If you don't find the happiness and the joy that we try to bring, the entertainment, and then I'll say one last thing. I also joked yesterday about, yes, we do provide entertainment in so many different forms, but don't think we don't work just as hard as every other farm, because we try to do both. Have our work, get everything taken care of, keep things cleaned up, but we also laugh along the way. And it's a pleasure to share our blessing with you all for those who don't get a chance to experience things like this. But time is your greatest commodity. It's very limited. It's numbered. Your days are numbered. Find that happy place, y'all, and live there. When you find it, live there. Live every moment of it. And if it's not here, we'll miss you.
It's okay.
But you really have to be happy in this life, y'all, because you don't have a lot of days left, okay? None of us do. So I will go ahead and tip my hat to you all and say have a wonderful Saturday. And are you going to wrap this up for us?
I am. Say a few prayers for Ernie as we figure out what to do today with him. And say a few prayers for Lester and his underwear. And his underwear are numbered as well. So, just, yeah. Anyway, we love y'all. Have a really happy Saturday.
Or customer service.
They were
it was
rambling
all
on
kind
today,
of
Jamie. They were
options.
just rambling on.
Krispy Kreme, if you need
And
to
they
talk
can't
to,
find nothing to talk about
support,
neither.
press
So they
2.
keep talking about us
So Jason went online.
and donuts
I went online.
and my shaved head.
Put that
We'd
in.
have to turn around.
They said it was to promote, because Dr. Pepper does all the football commercials.
Dr. Pepper
The
donuts?
college football commercial. In the season, this is week 4, so. Pumpkin spice has started to slip.
Pumpkin, every flavor, so you've got maple, pumpkin spice, apple.
It was like Forrest Gump.
I told Jason, I
Talking
said,
about a tree.
that sounds like fall. He said it is. Maybe they're gas stations versus, Krispy Kreme stores, or maybe they sold out. Because they probably wouldn't be online if they sold out. I don't know.
I had to try it. It doesn't.
So, I don't even know where
Yeah,
I was.
Dr.
but I
Pepper's
needed
in everything.
something to drink. I was in Publix.
Somebody said Shandy's garden that she loves Krispy Kreme and got a box of the Dr. Pepper.
Come on, girls, let's go.
So I was in
Come on, ladies.
window this past couple weeks ago, and I needed something to drink. I always take water with me. I try to stay away from soft drinks.
Hey, sweetie.
So I'm looking at the case.
All right, we're in the green room, and it looks like a lot of people have joined in. I need a